A long time ago, in a future far, far away. Time Crisis. Part 1. Michael is writing very passionately on his computer. The letter reads, "Sometimes I wonder where it all went wrong. By the time I was born, everything was already a mess. But I've seen the pictures, and I've seen the beauty that was the island of Puerto Rico. Now, our government is fully controlled by Elijah, the most advanced AI in the planet. Rumors say he is so advanced that he has a time vault that he uses to predict the future. Myself, I've always stayed in line at work. Others, not so much. I work for the Time Bureau, a government-backed private agency that ensures the well-being of the timeline. In other words, I keep time pirates from messing with the past. Most of the world does not know this, but around the year 2067, the University of Puerto Rico in Calle had breakthrough with time travel experiments. We did not share this information though. Since we are an independent country, we kept our advances to ourselves. I studied for 12 years in said university just to be qualified for this job. And now, I'm about to throw it all away. For years, I've seen how we control people's time traveling activity, yet Elijah uses it to manipulate present events. Last week, I had enough of it. He went to the year 2091, otherwise known as the Falling, and set forth a chain of events that caused a civil war in our island, destroying major cities, resources, and turning our once beautiful island into a city of ashes. I have no choice but to go back to the beginning, back to the man who created this monster, and stop him from doing so. I'm gonna kill Dereck Figueroa. The plan is simple. I go into my regular daily routine around 10:47 when the shifts change. I'll go inside the time matrix. I've never been in the time matrix, and it is said it can kill you, since you are split into the mind of all your ancestors. I have to focus on my great-great-grandfather Marcel, aka Derek's best friend. And I write this letter because if I fail, I will die. And if I succeed, the chain of events can cause an infinite change in the timeline, and I need to let everyone know what happened here. Sincerely, Michael Gonzalez. As he approached the time for his mission to start, he dropped the letter in a device called Time and Relative Dimensions Unalterator, which no matter how much the timeline changes, this device will not get affected by the change. Michael proceeded with his daily work routine, during which he snatched a time vortex manipulator, a device that works as a compass inside the time vortex, and a military general uniform, just for access. Then, 10:45 came. He became all nervous for his task, and with right reasons to do so. Just as he started to advance, Elijah came breaking down doors looking for him. It appears that the rumors of predicting the future are completely true. Michael ran. He ran faster than he had ever run in his life, but Elijah was faster. By the time Michael reached the time matrix, he jumped as far as he could, and Elijah managed to grab onto him midair, damaging his vortex manipulator, as they were both sent into the time vortex. Now, the real fun begins. Part 2. As we went inside the vortex, where I felt peace and calmness, I quickly realized I had an unwanted passenger along with me. Elijah must have figured I would try something today. I went to reach for my wrist when I realized my vortex manipulator was broken. I wasn't ready for this. I began to panic, as I did not know how to travel in the Matrix. Suddenly, I see my memories, even some I'd forgotten over time. I even saw some that I didn't recognize. Not long after the memories started to pass, I realized the memories I was seeing weren't my own, but my father's, then my grandfather's, and so on, until finally I saw my target, Marcel. I aimed for him, but was pulled by Elijah and accidentally fell into 2018, way before my target year. I woke up in a strange bed, not recognizing my surroundings, and no sign of Elijah around me. As I looked in the mirror, I realized that I wasn't me, but someone that looked like me. Recognizing him, I instantly realized I was in the body of my ancestor Marcel. Lost in thought, a sudden voice dragged me out of my daydream. It was Dereck, yelling at me that we were late for class. I decided to play the part of Marcel for a few weeks, until I had the perfect chance to strike. Our days flew by without much drama. Class, beer, games, and studying made up most of them. I discovered Dereck was really into this thing called a Netflix, something I find very odd. I'd make a few notes, but out of everything, what stood out the most was that this wasn't a guy that I would imagine destroying the world. I had a feeling that something wasn't right. As the years went by, 2030 arrived, and I began to like Dereck the more time I spent together. Losing sight of my mission to end him, we both graduated college, and now we're working together on the project that would eventually lead to time travel. One day, Dereck started acting suspicious. He left his long-term girlfriend, Nay, abandoned all communications with his family, and isolated himself from the world. I walked into him one day and realized he had started working on the early prototype of Elijah. When I confronted him about it, he quickly got defensive and went for one of the ray guns. He did not know I had a gun of my own, which I quickly took out and we pointed each other with our guns, both hesitating to shoot. I asked him what was going on, and he responded, "I'm sorry. Dereck is in a small timeout." Having said these words, I understood the time I feared had arrived, and I was talking to Elijah. I see, finally, you have figured out poor Dereck has nothing to do with the events that cause our future. Poor bastard created me by accident. He's smart, but lacked the ability to look beyond and didn't see the potential of what he had built. It's funny. I'm currently designing myself. I'm pretty sure this will cause some problems with the future. Oh well. Pew pew! Elijah tried to shoot me with his blaster. I was faster. I shot the blaster out of his hand, and as I did, he time jumped and left Dereck's body on the floor. Good thing about time jumping, you leave a trace of time matter behind, which allows other people with a time matrix to follow you, which is exactly what I did. I raced after Elijah for hours without end, and to the end, we arrived. Part 3. I have no idea where we are, but it's war. A small man approached me. "Yo, what are you doing out of your shelter? Run back and..." The man stopped talking. He looked at the stripes in the uniform I still wore, since I was back in my own body. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't see your stripes. We're about to drop a nuke inside the castle. You should head in. I'll catch up with you in a bit." I listened to the man as he spoke and caught up on certain events. Elijah had gone tyrannical. His own time army turned into a militia against them. This happened in 2120, which meant I had traveled to the future. I was in the middle of what would later be known as the biggest war in history, the Time War. In 2119, Elijah had revealed to the world all the technology hidden in Puerto Rico, which made a few politicians a little jealous and, wanting in on the action, declared war on our island. I failed my plan, and I didn't know what to do. So I decided to lock myself and invent a fully functional time machine that would allow me to physically time travel. I explained my plan to the militia, to which they decided to aid me in any way possible, even when I neglected to use a gun. I began to work, and as I did, the war outside grew stronger. 3 years later, I developed the first space and time intermittent ship, or SATIS for short. And one day, Elijah found me. I don't know how he does it, but every time the militia was close to achieving something, it always backfired. And this time it was looking the same way. The bomb went off around 14:25, when every